introduce it.
Hi, I'm Pedro Coltaniuk. I'm Dennis Maldonado. And this is... Dude, where's the remote? Where the heck did you left it? So, we all lose the controller. Let's face it, everybody here does it. Well, most people does it. According to a special study by Pixie Incorporated, by Pixie Instruments Incorporated, we all lose the remote. At least 71% of people lose the remote at least once in their lifetime. At least it's 71% of people in the United States being misplacing the remote controller, and then they don't know where they left it. Everyone gets angry at them because they have no idea where they left the controller and they can't say anything about it.
Our justification, the summary is that we pointed out where people usually lose the remote, like for example in the couch seats, under the bed, or for instance for me, in the fridge.
Don't worry, it was just one time.
Yeah. And our justification too is that it gives some tips to like line up your controller so you won't be so you can easily find it, like putting like a yellow tape on the tape on the controller. We decided to do a survey and send it to friends or to some adults like my parents or family members. And our first question was, we asked have you ever lost your remote? And most people said yes, and it was a lot of people said yes by 93%. And we decided to ask, where do they often lose their remote? Most people, half the percentage they lose it in the couch due to the TV being in the living room. And 11% asked that they lost the remote in their pockets, for me for instance. And the second biggest percentage would be in their bedrooms, like in the bed sheets or in the bed. And 5% said in their cabinets, and 2%, meaning there's somebody else that also lost it in the fridge, not just me. And 75% of people answered that they at least lose their controller at least once a month. And 25% said that they do lose it in a month, or sometimes they won't lose it. 47% said that did they take them less than 10 minutes just to find it. 22% say they find it in a minute, so I'm pretty sure they just lose it right next to them, or they just shake their sheets. So 9% said that they never found it. Another 9% said they found it the next day, and 11% said they found it in 30 minutes.
When asked who often loses the control remote within them, it was a very split choice between people, but most people did say that they lost it themselves. Good for you, you admit it. Good, no one's gonna judge you for doing it. And about 46.5% of people said that other people misplaced them. When somebody else misplaces them, then normally they say that they don't remember where they placed it. That's when you are like, oh, okay, then where is it? Where can I find it? We're gonna have to start searching the whole house. Turn it around, okay? And then for the final question on the survey, we asked if they were gonna be interested in an app-less, very simple product that can help them easily find this controller that is now lost. And as you can see, about 86% of people said yes, they would. And just 14% of people said no.
what decided us to decide on the solution? On the weekends, I have two little nephews that come over. And since I usually wake up late, because I usually stay up all night, and when I wake up, the first thing I go into the living room, see the entire mess that they've done over the past like 3 hours they've been here. First thing I see, where's the remote? Our remote is almost the size of this controller right here, and it's much more thinner. And the remote will be lost anywhere. In the couch, behind the couch. He sometimes has it in his own pocket, and you won't even know. So I decided to make it much easier on myself and my dad, because my dad takes care of them, to make it easier for him or myself just to find it, and for my two nephews to also easily find it.
Why does it matter? Well, as I've said before, everybody misplaces the remote. Well, if not everybody, then most people do misplace the remote somewhere else when they never realize or find out where they put it on. Well, not until they find it, but that usually takes some time. And according to the same study by Pixie Industries, the average television watcher will be spend at least 2 weeks of their lifetime searching for the remote. At least.
For our similar solutions, we decided to do some research on some products that already exist that also help people find like their lost stuff. Our first one would be the Tile app, which would require you to purchase the product and download the app as well. Our second one would be the Dish Universal Remote, and it basically requires you to have Dish. If not, it won't work. And the sticker R tracker, I'll let Pedro handle it from here.
The sticker tracker was very, very similar to the Tile app, pretty much the same, pretty much a carbon copy of it. Because it's the same thing. It's a small device that you place on the controller or anything that you lose all the time, and download the app. You lose it, then you just check it out on your map and see that you left it in the convenience store next door. Then you go there and take it. Then we also got something called the Loca Mini that is more expensive because there come a lot of pieces on it, like a lot of different pieces that go on different stuff of different things that you lose all the time. So then you can. You got a question there? Okay, so you just have a lot of things in it. You just put each one on a piece on something that you lose all the time. Then you just press on a button and find it in seconds, or well, minutes if you're me.
Alright, and for the portable RF key finder, this one was really interesting for me because it will start beeping when it detects high-pitched noises. Like it will start beeping when like a dog barking, and for me, I don't want that because I don't want like two nephews on the weekend screaming at 6 in the morning. I don't want that. For me, that's a pretty bad idea. Right. This time, we decided to make our prototype design. We decided to make like a box on the back with 2 circuits. So, my bad. Have the circuit on the back of the controller, and it'll be placed in a box. It'll be held on together by Velcro, so it'll be easy to take off the case so you can change the battery if you need to, or just to like rearrange it if you want to put it in a different spot.
So, while in this product we were looking for some very specific things, but All of those things are important to make sure that you're going to have the most reliable product to effectively look and find your controller in the least time possible. We want it to be light, at least like 35 grams at the least. Then we also want it to be, okay, the most important thing is that we want it to be easy to use. Even a kid should be able to use it. Like, just go to the wall, press a button, then you hear a beeping, and in 3 seconds you find a remote. Well, maybe not 3 seconds, but around that time. We want it to be we want it to be durable enough, not extremely durable, but we do want it to be durable enough. It's going to be handled by a lot of different people. So, at the very least, it should be able to survive a 1.5 meter fall, or maybe probably a little more. Probably. Buzzer should be able to be heard from at least 35 feet. At the very least, that. Also should be able to sound through muffling, like say it's on the couch where most people lose it. It's probably under the cushions. You're not going to be able to hear it very well if the sound is muffled too much. So we want the buzzing and the sounds to go through that too. And it should be sizable, small enough to fit on the back of the controller and you'll be able to use it comfortably.
Alright, now we're going to show you pictures of us building the prototype. We got the 2 circuits from a $10 toy car that I bought from Walmart. We got the transmitter from where you press the button from the remote to the left, and we got the circuit for the buzzer that has a buzzer on it on the toy car on the right. As you can see in the 2 pictures right here, the receiver is from the toy car. We had to add the buzzer and the battery for the batteries because it did not come with it. So we just had to solder them together. And for the transmitter, we just had to put the battery.
This is us working on the soldering, using the soldering iron to remove some solder from previously placed items and then place the new ones.
We found Ms. Combs provided us with a box for the transmitter, and in the middle we have the mock controller that we decided to use. And the box is big enough to put the transmitter inside of it with a 9-volt battery inside of it. Here we are, here's Pedro just trying to fit the circuit in by itself without the battery, and Pedro's here you can't see the battery, but he's putting the circuit inside with the 9-volt battery.
This is a special inventor file that I used. I used Autodesk Inventor to make a 3D sketch of this little box to put the buzzer on. That would be the special box that would go behind the controller, or actually anywhere on the controller, because it's going to be strapped with Velcro on it to provide for an easy way to take it on and off the controller and put it in another controller if you want to. Like grab a piece of Velcro, put it in this controller, put another piece in this other controller, or another thing that you lose a lot. And if you don't want it, if you're not going to be using the TV for a while, then just remove it from that and put it in that one, the other one. And so I came up with this little box. It actually worked the first time, so I didn't have to make any special adjustments in the end, because the first prototype worked perfectly. That is a picture of that same box that you just saw earlier being 3D printed. Now, once the sketch was completed, I gave it to Ms. Combs, who passed it along to the special program that she had connected to her 3D printer, and I used that to printed a special prototype to put the circuit on. Once it was on, it actually was an almost perfect fit.
Here's the box. Here's the finished box for the receiver, and in the middle, again, it's our remote controller that it will be on. Here's Pedro putting on the circuit with the 9-volt battery, and with the 9-volt battery, we had issues because the battery was too big, and since it was too big, it was actually blocking the cap for it to close. So it would just like halfway close and it would like fall out sometimes. So we decided to come up with a different solution and try to use smaller batteries.
This is a special, another 3D sketch that I made of a special holder for the batteries. Like we changed to LED batteries that were easy to use, small enough, the ones that you put on your watch. Basically small enough to fit in this little thing, and strapped it in there. I made a special fit for those batteries, and then we just used a pair of strings to put it on, a pair of springs to put it on, that we connected to the circuit, and then went through the holes on this design to connect it to both sides of the batteries. It was 2 battery fit in this thing.
We use 2 3-volt lithium-ion batteries that you'll find in small controllers, and they were a perfect fit for the 2 springs and the 2 batteries, and it made the closing for the box much easier, and it would not fall out.
Okay, so for the testing procedure, we had a special procedure for testing how this thing worked in the end. The final product used a very simple but very effective way to test it. So we placed the receiver about 5 feet away from the transmitter and pressing the button on the receiver to check out is the transmitter buzzed. If the buzzer sounded, once it sounded, you just hear it out and record if you heard it. Yes or no in the special chart over there. So if you heard the sound, yes, just record it there and add another 5 feet to the distance, and so on until you add the maximum distance we've gone through. In the end, we managed to hear it from a total distance of 35 feet.
This time we decided to test it out, but with interference, like having it in a backpack or putting it in a door cabinet that will show pictures in the upcoming slides. And when we tested it out, yes, we managed to get it over 35 feet. And over the testing procedure, we recorded our answers, and we got yes on all the way up to 35 feet as well. Here we are just testing it out in the hallway. We are testing it in a straight line. This for our first procedure, we're testing it in a straight line inside a backpack, and it could still be heard. Now, I decided to make a sketch of Miss Holmes's room, and we decided to put the buzzer inside in the cabinet inside the workshop, and the button in the office that's also in the same room. In total, the cabinet's door and the door for the workshop were closed. The door for the office was also closed. And then we decided to measure the distance, and to see how far it will go. Here's the buzzer inside the cabinet, where it will be placed and where it will be shut. The transmitter, the button is right. It's there. on the office, just resting, and it'll be ready to press it so we can hear the button. Here we are just measuring the distance of how far away they are of the button and the buzzer. We managed to get it, we managed to make it go 36 feet in total. And we could still be able to hear it.
The results were actually pretty good. We got a fairly good distance between them. There was a fairly good distance between the office and the cabinet, and the cabinet door was closed, the doors of the workshops were closed, the office door was closed, and there was some really similar concrete in the walls. So there was some distance and interference between the two objects. But in the end, once the button was pressed, the buzzer sounded, and I was able to hear it from outside the office.
Now I decided to take the controller home and try to test it out. But I was not going to test it out with my nephews, but I decided to play a little hide and seek with my sister. And she'll hide the controller with the buzzer, and I'll have to press the button to see where it's at. Here's the controller, and yes, I'm aware it's pretty big. Bear with us, it's a prototype. We're hoping to, if we continue, make it much smaller, much smaller, because I'm pretty sure nobody wants that in their controller. Yeah. Here, for me, well, for my height, I decided to put it on the wall next to my TV to see where it's at, so I will never lose sight of it. Alright. Some of y'all may think it's in the pillows, it's in the sheets, it could be under the couch or in between the couch. It's behind the couch. So it can be anywhere it can be placed if my little nephews come. Alright, now it's a picture of my bed, barely getting out of bed. And it could be under my sheets, under the bed, under the pillow. It's inside the pillow. It happens quite often with my phone. It somehow ends up inside my pillow.
We used several different engineering concepts when it came down to building this thing. First off, we used Autodesk Inventor for a lot of the pieces we used to build this thing in the first place. Like the main prototype uses a casing built on a 3D sketch on Autodesk Inventor. That ended up working pretty well for the first try. We used a 3D printing polymer in order to make them in the end, so yeah, connected to the computer, connected to the 3D printer, put the sketch on the computer, make sure everything's put on correctly. You don't want to not have it, so in the end, it worked out pretty well. It came out the first try. We didn't waste any polymer in the end. We used we removed the special circuits from that toy car and the toy remote to have the special two communicating pieces, the two communicating circuits that we would need in order to make a long distance communication between the buzzer and the button, so you can always know where to place your controller. And of course, we also use a lot of soldering in order to modify those circuits, because of course they didn't work right away with what they had on them.
The wires for the pre-wires that were on the circuits were very frail and they kept falling off. So we decided to switch with much harder wires, so they won't come off like when we're mid-testing it. For us, it would be better if the box was smaller in size compared to the remote, because like previous picture, no one wants that in the remote. And we want to make it work even larger in distance, because where I tried it, I live in an apartment, but we did not try it in a house. So I don't know how it would compare to a house. And Pedro, take it from the design.
So, I'd say that the design could have been better, like providing, like for example, providing special holes in the area that the buzzer was specifically located at, in order to make the sound release better. Sometimes the casing would interfere with the sound coming out, like you wouldn't be able to hear it very well because of the casing itself. So some holes needed to be added in order to have the sound come out properly. And of course, we also think that it should be able to come through more solid objects. Like if you put it on, say, a cardboard box, the sound should be able to go through that like more efficiently. Like if you put it there and the sound sounds muffled a little, you should be able to hear it loud and clearly. So we need a sound that makes all that, solve those complaints.
And we want to give our thanks to Ms. Combs and Ms. Okura for helping us and guiding us within our project. And we want to thank the people who took our surveys. It helped us quite a lot with it. And at the time we weren't thinking about it, but we would also like to thank the judges for judging us and coming out here.
And thanks to all of our teammates from our class on EDD. Thank you guys.
You tested in the classroom how far away you could hear it and everything. Did you do any tests just to see how far the transmitter could transmit, whether you could hear it or not? So just go out to a parking lot and get further and further apart and see where it stopped?
No, we did not. We stopped at 36 feet because that's how far we went. But when we tried it going to a different room, because we tried it from the hallway to Ms. Okura's room, and it's not that far away, but we could not hear it. We could not hear it because he was the one with the buzzer. So it was probably interference from the wall. I think the wall was brick, if I'm correct. But no, we did not test it out further than 36 feet.
Okay, first I just want to say that your personalities really, show up there, and that's great. I appreciate that. That always makes a presentation more interesting, especially when you get personal connections like talking about your nephews. The next thing I just want to comment on is I really appreciate and like the exploration work that you did as far as from an engineering perspective and really kind of getting in there and trying different things. But always make sure that you define that criteria up front and you stick to it on what's going to make a good design in the end. And maybe go back and compare your design to the ones that are already out there, right? Because you want, in the end, you want a practical solution. That's the goal behind the whole project. Also, along the same lines, make sure that when you are defining your criteria, it's a criteria and it's not a constraint. It's something that can be judged, so that in the end you are able to rank your design compared to others. But good job.
Thank you. All right. I guess that's it. Thank you, everybody.
all the presenters and the Hillcrest presenters and the Woodrow kids and the North Dallas kids. You can all follow Ms. Okura all the way through the school back to our classrooms where we have lunch for you. If you're one of our kids, sorry, you will go to regular B lunch. So hold, Hillcrest, sit down. B lunch doesn't start for a few minutes.